Yeah, and that's when he needs to.
Look at that. They keep moving around.
Ooh, what does that mean? That
Well,
means
I think it means the next game is going to be the Giants at the Bucs.
That's probably what it means, yeah.
A sellout crowd in Tampa were up for the visit of the Big Blue. Early on, neither side came up with much, so we'll pick up the game with the Bucs driving at the Giants' 21-yard line.
The long snapper on the kick team, and it would affect that as well. Garcia looking left, now back over the middle, completes. Graham down to the 6. Antonio Pierce, the middle linebacker, on the tackle, and a 14-yard throw, catch, and run.
Yeah, and this is where they're pretty good. I mean, Jeff Garcia is going to ISO the middle linebacker here with Ernest Graham, and so you see how much field there is to work there with Ernest Graham against Antonio Pierce. He had a two-way break, and you've got all that field to get open. I mean, that's a mismatch. Not that Antonio Pierce isn't a good cover guy, but when you give a guy that kind of room, I don't care who you are, you're going to have a hard time covering that back.
And off to Graham. Ernest Graham to the 1. Second down and goal for John Gruden. Howie Long said it during our pregame show, and there are a lot of people who agree with regard to John Gruden. This may be his best season yet as a head coach in the NFL with all that he's dealt with. Yes, he won a Super Bowl after the 0-2 season, but he has molded this team, and they are obviously dangerous. Graham, touchdown.
Execution there. You're going to see the pull here by the guard. He leads the way. That's Davin Joseph. They get in behind his block. They get movement. You see there, they're knocked into the end zone. Pretty easy touchdown there.
A drive that started at their own 46. And Graham has his 8th rushing touchdown in the last 8 games. A Tampa Bay Buccaneer team that has not enjoyed the national spotlight all season long. The spotlight is on, and they lead the Giants late first quarter.
Into the second quarter now, and the Giants have a 3rd and 9 deep in Bucs territory.
Over the middle, Amani Toomer, 1st and goal, Giants at the 5. Good throw from Manning.
Yeah, and Eli really handling the line of scrimmage very well. He's taking his time. He's able to see. They brought Rondé Barber off the edge, but he knew it was coming. And he also knew that they were going to be able to pick it up. And so because he was as patient as what he was, he made Tampa Bay declare immediately as to what they were going to do. And then Amani Toomer, I mean, this guy's been doing it for so long. Another nice reception for a 1st down.
3rd catch of this first half for Toomer. 1st and goal. They leave it in Eli's hands. He gets it to Brandon Jacobs. Touchdown. Jacobs slamming the ball into that wall down behind the end zone. And the Giants pounded in, but that was a drive, Troy, where Eli Manning deserves a lot of the credit.
Yeah, and this was a good play by Kevin Gilbride. You're going to see it's a middle screen. Brandon Jacobs, he's going to come up. He's going to show protection. And then Derek Brooks read it. Derek Brooks, instead of going for Jacobs to make the tackle, he went for the ball to force an incompletion. And because of that, it gave Jacobs a clear path for the end zone.
Remember, the Giants are without Alford snapping for the kicker. Yet Tynes knocks it through. Alford are injured earlier, so the Giants answer. Finally move the football against the Buccaneer defense, and Brandon Jacobs let out some frustration. Good work by Manning, tied at 7.
The Bucs could only manage a 3 and out on their next drive, so we rejoin the Giants once again, threatening the Bucs end zone.
1st down at the 17. More Manning, another completion. And this time it's Bradshaw, who is lined up wide to the right, good for 8 yards.
I like right now what New York is doing. you know, they're still going to stay relatively committed to the running game. I don't think that this team is built to getting completely away from the running game, even if they're not having much success. Continue to run the football, but they're getting their plays right now out of the passing game. And watching Eli Manning, boy, he really looks like he's comfortable right now within the pocket.
That's what Derek Brooks said. Our goal is to make Eli uncomfortable. They have not done that. 2nd and 2. Jacobs, touchdown, New York. On the road, down 7-0. The Giants with the extra point coming. They're trying to score 14 unanswered here as we wind down in the first half.
Yeah, Madison Hedgecock, 265 pounds. He's your lead blocker, and then the guy coming in behind that is also 265 pounds. You see the block that he made, and then before anybody could even get a hand on Jacobs, I mean, you're just not going to be able to slow that train down.
Alford is back in there at center for the kick. Perfect snap, perfect extra point. It's 14-7. Brandon Jacobs weighs more than Gaines Adams, the rookie defensive end, and all the linebackers for the Tampa Bay Bucks. How about this half for Eli Manning? 14-7 Giants.
Into the second half now, and Lawrence Tynes is kicking off for the New York Giants.
As we begin the second half, Tynes will kick it away. Spurlock takes it in from about the 7. Room to run. Lost the football, and it is recovered by New York. Webster. First Tynes had his hands on it. Then Webster came away with a fumble recovery and a huge turnover here by Spurlock.
Well, there's no question, Joe. Spurlock is the one who had the return a few weeks ago for the touchdown, but, you know, young guy comes in and, you know, both coaches talked about how critical the turnover game was going to be. You come out in the second half, you think your offense is going to get the ball, try to get something going, only to give a short field to this New York Giants team.
Tynes had a shot at a fumble recovery, but Webster was there to pick it up after Tank Daniels forced the fumble. And here is that Giant offense, and here is Brandon Jacobs. A 7-yard gain on first down. First it was Tynes, the kicker.
Well,
and then it was Webster. Wow.
Well, that shows you what the kickers do during the week in practice. They don't practice recovering fumbles. Pretty athletic move, though. He rolled up on his head, and he must have been a gymnast back in the day, huh?
That was the first turnover of the game.
Kickers never get a break.
2nd and 3. Jacobs will try the right side, and Brandon has a first down inside the 20. Picked up 4. Buchanan on the tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and what an opportunity here for the Giants on the road. They get the turnover on the kick return by Spurlock, and they have a chance now to cram it right into the end zone.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, obviously that's what's important for New York. I mean, to get a chance to make it a 2-possession game, a touchdown here would be huge for them, just because of the way that the defense has been able to contain Tampa Bay offensively. But, you know, this is a critical series right now for this defense.
On first down, they stick with a ground game and run it with Brandon Jacobs, who picks up a yard. Derek Brooks on the tackle for the Buccaneers. 2nd down and 9. What a difference a year makes for John Gruden's team. Last year, -12 in the turnover margin. This year, +15. And a big reason why they ended up winning the NFC South. But a turnover on special teams has presented this opportunity to the Giants. Manning keeps it. Chased out of the pocket, throws too high, tipped and incomplete. Had Boss wide open. And Manning knows he missed one there. 3rd down and 9.
You know, I like the play action here by Kevin Gilbride after they'd gotten the running game going. Now they go off tackle, fake, roll Eli out to his right. You know, they had two receivers in the same area. Initially, I thought maybe he was trying to go to Plexico Burris on the back of the end zone. And then Boss he got his hand on it. I'm not sure really, Joe, who exactly it was that he was trying to get the football to. Normally, you don't see two receivers like that stacked so close.
They're down in 9 now. Manning, a screen for Jacobs. Well-designed play, and Jacobs has a first down for the Giants. Knocked down at the 8, and he is a load coming in the open field with the ball in his hands.
I tell you, he got the ball, and he had two blockers out in front of him, and these blockers didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, there was no defenders out in front. You see there with Jacobs with the ball in his hand. And then finally, they're able to come up and make a play, but not until after they pick up the first down. You know, I think Kevin Gilbride has done a good job as offensive coordinator, really mixing things up, sticking with the running game even when it wasn't working, mixing in some play action, and then the screen game's been pretty good for him.
On first and goal, this one for Burris, and overthrown. Plexico Burris is 6 or 7 inches taller than any cornerback that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can run out there, and so trying to take advantage of Phillip Buchanan. He's 5'11". Burris is 6'5". That one was just thrown too high.
Yeah, I mean, you want to throw it more like an alley-oop like you would in basketball. I mean, you can't throw that on a line, and you got to give him an opportunity, because as long as you get it up high enough, you know, he's going to have a real shot at coming down with it.
Now Burris will be at the bottom of the screen across from Rondé Barber. Brandon Jacobs, and penalty flags prior to the snap. So that play blown dead. Here's Walt Anderson.
False start, number 67, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That is the first penalty called against the Giants in this game.
Yeah, the Giants, you know, in previous years, they had really struggled with penalties, Joe. This year, the 6th least penalized team in the National Football League.
Well, the franchise record, as we said earlier, 143 2 years ago. Only 77 this season. Second and goal. With a ball at the 13-yard line. Manning over the middle, hits Toomer.
Well, they've really had a lot of success working the middle of the field there, whether it's been Amani Toomer or Steve Smith. You know, that shallow crossing route has been real good to them, whether they've been in man coverage or even zone. You know, in zone coverage, these linebackers get depth. It opens things up in that area. This is a tough area, though, on the field right here on third down to throw the football. Not an easy place to run the football either.
Play clock at 1. And that's a delay of game. That doesn't help. That play never happened. That play is blown dead because Eli Manning took too long at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and Eli's had a few of those happen to him over the course of this season.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
You know, sometimes, Joe, it's okay to take a delay of game penalty, but you got to know when the situation warrants doing that. It does not warrant that when you're inside the 5-yard line trying to go in for a touchdown. And so now, already difficult enough to try to get a touchdown on third down from where they were, but now, you know, from where they're at, even more difficult. And, you know, you just got to watch the clock. As the quarterback, when you break the huddle, the first thing you got to do is see how much time's left on the play clock.
Ball back at the 9, third and goal. Manning slings it. Smith nowhere to go. Brian Kelly on the tackle, and the Tampa Bay defense makes enough plays to keep the Giants out of the end zone.
They really did. I mean, that's a nice job by that defensive unit and Monty Kiffin and them, you know, tightening up and not allowing a touchdown, because so many times when you give the ball to an offense where the Giants got to start that possession, they get a touchdown. There's nowhere in the rule book that says that the offense has to score a touchdown, and Tampa Bay steps up and holds them to a field goal attempt. It's a nice job on their part.
25-yard try for Tynes. Eagles gets it down, and Tynes drives it through. A drive that started after a special teams turnover by Michael Spurlock, recovered by Webster. Good play on third down by the Bucs defense to keep the Giants out of the end zone. It's a 10-point New York lead.
On the Bucs' next drive, Corey Webster intercepted this pass intended for Joey Galloway. The Giants have now driven down to the Tampa 20-yard line.
Today as Bradshaw tries to find some running room. Boy, he's been great. To the 15-yard line, and he got 6 yards when it looked like there'd be nothing.
Yeah, what was it? Plexico Burris said that Rondé Barber shouldn't worry so much about Eli Manning. He better worry about 17. And, you know, 17's starting to make some plays here.
That was on the response to Rondé Barber saying, of course we want to play the Giants on his radio show. They win ugly. Shockey's hurt, and Eli is inconsistent. Well, he wasn't inconsistent last week against the Patriots, and he's been even better here today. Hasn't turned the ball over to this very good Tampa Bay defense. 2nd and 4. Bradshaw. Ahmad Bradshaw has a first down at the 9, and the offensive line banged up as it is, without O'Hara, without David Deal. They are moving people out.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the movement here with these guys. I mean, it's awfully nice. And then Ahmad Bradshaw, because he does have such quickness, you know, he's able to make people miss. You got a guy in the hole, and he's not able to make the play. You know, Brandon Jacobs, he certainly has a lot of elusiveness for a big guy, but not nearly to the extent that Ahmad Bradshaw has.
That was the injured center, Sean O'Hara, cheering on the offensive line, doing a job. 1st and goal. Bradshaw again. This time, Barber comes up from his corner spot to make the play, a gain of only 1 at 2nd and goal.
I mean, you look at where this drive began on the Giants' 8-yard line. I mean, this has been awfully impressive. You know, they've taken over 7 minutes off the clock. I mean, just doing a good job.
And how about this balanced attack? A game that has been brilliantly called by Kevin Gilbride. And Bradshaw now has been more of the difference maker than Brandon Jacobs. 2nd and goal. Just chewing up the clock. Bradshaw again makes a move in the hole and gets it down inside the 5. Picked up 4.
You know, these are really signature drives that you want to have as an offensive unit. I mean, when you get into a game like this and you're up 10 points and you have a chance to go from your 8-yard line and drive the football, complete some passes, run the ball effectively as they have with Ahmad Bradshaw, and take that kind of time off the clock and then score to really put that game away. I mean, this is an excellent job that we're seeing from the New York Giants. Not so good for Tampa Bay defensively.
8 runs, 6 passes. 15th play of the drive. Touchdown Giants. Amani Toomer. And a brilliant drive engineered by Manning, anchored by Bradshaw on the ground and called by Gilbride on the sideline.
Yeah, and I don't want to overstate this drive, Joe, by any means, but you know, that's a heck of a job right there by Eli Manning, as you said, directing this drive, getting them down here into a position to throw the touchdown pass. And you know, who knows, whatever happens, but we may be looking back at some point in time on this drive for Eli Manning and say, you know what, that's when he really grew up.
Toomer, 7 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. And here on the road, the New York Giants have scored 24 unanswered points. A little pump fake, a look left, a throw to his right, and Eli has a smile and another touchdown.
The Bucs pulled this touchdown back late in the 4th quarter, a 6-yard pass from Jeff Garcia to Alex Smith. And they got the ball back one more time, but this interception by R.W. McQuarters sealed the fate of John Gruden and his men and saw the Giants advance to the divisional playoffs.
R.W. McQuarters, he sounds like a congressman from the 19th century.
It is a good name. You know, Joey Galloway wasn't 100%, and that was really the story of that game. And Sam Madison didn't play for the Giants, but Jason Webster did a nice job on Galloway. took him out of the game, basically, and the Bucs didn't really have an answer for that. I just wonder if Troy Aikman is Kevin Gilbride's agent or something.
What makes you say that?
Well, it was play after play. It was what a great call by Kevin Gilbride. And then he throws the ball 12 feet over Plexico Bress's head, and they're going, he just has to get it high there because he can go up. And say, well, the problem wasn't putting the ball high. The problem was getting the ball down low.
A little bit lower. The play was great, though, by Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Gilbride's another University of New Haven guy like Tony Sperano, but, you got to keep this under control here.
Armani Tuma is someone I want to talk about. A lot of people have said that his number could be up at the Giants, and yet if he has a big off-season, postseason, then he's in business, surely.
Well, if he wants to come back, he probably will. He's certainly, at the age where you start to lose a step and you start to, lose a little bit of quickness, hand quickness sometimes too, and hasn't caught the ball as well as he used to. So he's not the force that he was. But, even if you use him as a slot receiver or as a number 3 receiver, he'd still have value. The question is how much money is he expecting to get if he has a good postseason or not. Does he want to be a supporting, player or a starter? And they don't really have someone to replace him is their other problem right now. But they can address that issue.
Adam from Birmingham is a Bucs fan, emailed in. Evening, Adam, NFL@5.tv. He is clearly disappointed with the way the result went, but wants to know if John Gruden can ever get the Bucs back to Super Bowl form. Or do you think his time
I
is
think
up?
this was probably a positive season for them, given the problems that they had last year. Part of that was rebuilding the defense and getting the defense to play. But the defense still is, Derek Brooks is still there. Rondé Barber is still there. It's an aging defense in that sense, and they need a couple more spare parts on that. Offensively, Jeff Garcia is not the long-term answer, and, they still have 4 quarterbacks there. Will Garcia's probably got another year if they want to do that. But they weren't totally convincing this year. What they have done is rebuilt the offensive line, and it didn't have a great game against the Giants, who are a tough defensive line to play against.
Yeah.
But overall in the season, it's been better than a Bucs line has been for probably 4 seasons or so.
He talked about the Giants' front 7. Their secondary often comes in for criticism, but it played pretty well against Tampa.
Yeah, Jason Webster had a very good, but like I said, Joey Galloway wasn't 100%, and that made it a bit easier. But he had a pretty good game, and Sam Madison, we were saying, we've seen him a few times, and Sam Madison has definitely lost a step. And he's always been a guy who hangs on, holds as much as possible to the receiver. He's doing a lot of that, but gets away with it, basically. And they're not that strong at safety, and that's the thing. And I wasn't convinced. Eli had a lot of time. The Giants' offensive line did a good job, especially missing 2 starters, of protecting him, giving him time to throw. And I think, to me, that was the key. They ran the ball well. Eli had time to throw. You heard right at the beginning, the way you beat Eli Manning is to confuse him, basically, to pressure him and to confuse him, and Tampa wasn't able to do that. He sat in that cover 2. Eli knows the cover 2 inside out and had a pretty good game against it.
That's how you beat me, actually.